Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to listen to an example of different amounts of transient clarity, because this is a very important concept in mastering, so I thought it should have its own little video. I'm Sofia and I have this channel together with Thomas. We have been working with mastering for many years and we try to share things that can be helpful. An example of a transient sound can be the attack of a drum hit, or the plucking of a string, or any other instrument that has a distinct onset. It can also be other percussive parts of a sound, like the consonants in the vocals, for example. Now I will switch between two examples of the same mix here and with different amounts of transient clarity. And to hear the transients, it's always a good idea to focus your ears on, for example, the plucking of the bass or the drums or something like that. So in general, the sound can feel more sharp and in focus when the transients are clear. To hear this, you will need to listen in headphones or good speakers. As a side note, if we take limiting, for example, it's very common knowledge to look out for distortion and pumping when setting the limiter. And if you're more advanced, maybe you also notice that the limiter can change something like the tonal balance as well. So you have your pumping and distortion and the tonal balance changes. Another thing that is one of those big factors to look out for in the limiter as well is the softening of transients. So limiting is one example of processing where you need to keep an ear on the transients at all times. And this is the case for many types of processing. Things happen to the transients in one way or another. So it's very good to have that in your mental checklist. And it's very good to recognize how it sounds when there are less or more of them. The amount and also like the sensitivity of the transients, how sensitive they are to what you're doing. It depends on the type of music, but in general, things like acoustic music, where there are a lot of feeling and articulation in the transients, then they are very important. A lot of the performance is in the transients, so to speak. Getting clearer transients usually just doesn't happen by accident. It's something you have to work with intention to get. Softened transients, however, is quite easy to accidentally achieve in different types of processors. So that's why I mentioned that they can happen in the limiter. Now we can listen to this in our Check Your Master app that is free to use for anyone. It runs locally in your browser and no files are uploaded anywhere. You can even load the page and then go offline and listen to your tracks offline if you want to. Anyway, so here we can listen to how the previous examples sound when normalized to the same LUFS. In the Reaper project, we had continuous loudness matching, so the loudness was matched at the moment of switching between the tracks. So this is the best way to hear small changes and to be able to set the controls right while we are working. So we found that this is the best way. But outside of the DAW, a more relevant question, like in the end, is what does the master sound like when you upload it to some streaming platform, and it gets loudness normalized to the playlist. So here we can now listen to when the two versions are matched globally to -14 LUFS integrated. As you can hear, the version with enhanced transients pops out more relative to the one with softened transients, so that is also something to note, and sometimes maybe you can use that as an advantage in certain situations. That's it for this video. Good luck with your current projects and thank you for watching. I will finish this off and play another example, and I wonder, can you hear which one of these two examples have the most pronounced transients?